Okay, I think I got it. Gotta make sure I'm live on YouTube. Hello and welcome. I'm Oksana Bonita. This is Midwest Crime Corner, and it is a Friday Night Live. I hope everybody is having a good Friday night. I'm pretty sure I'm live. I can't tell. It's so hard to tell once I'm on YouTube. You have to have it, you have to open up the stream and your streaming thing, and then you have to make sure you're live on YouTube. Says I'm streaming. I think I'm doing it. Okay. Let me fix my little screen. So I have some videos I want to share. Let me make sure. Yeah. Okay. I'm satisfied with it. The only problem is, oh, all right. I'll play this video. It's a Halloween murder case. So no, I have my upcoming Candyman video that I'm doing. I thought it would still be fun to look at some more Halloween cases since Halloween is coming up. It is right around the corner. So we'll look at this Halloween case first, and then we'll take a look at like the first week recap of the Quentin Simon murder case or unaliving case. I don't want to get flagged by YouTube. The algorithm has been really bad. Yes, if you do not bend your knee to the YouTube rules, your videos will not get pushed. I found that out firsthand. I don't like adhering to the rules. I think it's silly because, I mean, not saying the word is still, you're still saying it even though you're not saying it. Censorship is silly. So we'll look at the Quentin Simon case. His mom is on trial for unaliving him and putting his body in a dumpster, which later traveled to a landfill. She's an absolute piece of garbage, and she deserves the full justice system coming at her. So without further ado, let's
If your pet is the reason you can make it through the day, it's only right you can have them with you, everywhere.
This is 911 emergency. What are you reporting?
Oh my god, we got attacked.
Who attacked you?
I don't know.
You don't know who attacked you? Is that your home?
Yeah, I don't know what to do.
Halloween night, the heart of Napa Valley. 19 years ago, 3 roommates, Lauren, Adrian, and Leslie, just finished handing out candy to the kids in their neighborhood. The roommates have a relaxing Halloween at home, hanging out and watching TV before saying goodnight. Lauren goes to bed around 11, but she's suddenly woken up in the dead of night to her dog Chloe barking at the window. Something set off a motion detector outside, causing a light to turn on. Assuming it's a neighborhood cat that set off the sensor in the past, Lauren tries not to worry about it, and she gets Chloe to come back to bed.
My reaction is basically to quiet her down, so I, Chloe, it's okay, shh, and told her to lie down again. And then I heard the screamings and cries for help. I knew right away that it was something awful.
Someone else is in the house, and Lauren and her roommates are all in danger. Terrified that Adrian and Leslie are getting attacked, Lauren jumps out of bed and runs to her bedroom door, working up the courage to face whoever's in the house. She steps out of her room, but suddenly, she stops in her tracks when she hears footsteps coming down the stairs.
I've never, ever felt that terrified, not knowing what to do. I just ran into the backyard. I thought, this is a race for me to get to the door before he does.
Lauren makes it out the back door and hides. She doesn't know if the intruder heard her go outside or not. She waits, heart pounding as she wonders if they'll come looking for her. But miraculously, the footsteps don't follow. Lauren thinks she hears the person leaving through a window. She doesn't know where they went, but she braves going back inside the house to see what happened and help her roommates. Lauren runs to the home phone to call the police, but it's not working. She rushes to Adrian and Leslie on the second floor, but nothing could have prepared her for what she was about to see.
I noticed blood on the walls and everything. It was a horror movie. That's what I thought, exactly what I thought when I was up there. This can't be happening.
When she gets upstairs, she finds both of her roommates on the floor. Leslie is dead, and Adrian is clinging to life. Lauren doesn't have any time to process the shock, but she knows she has to do something to try to help Adrian. Terrified, she quickly finds her cell phone, grabs her dog Chloe, and runs to her car to call the police.
One unconscious, she was down, and then the other one was bleeding, but she was saying, help me, please help me. I didn't know what to do. I'm driving around. Wait, you're not back in the house? No, I got in my car and left. I don't know what to do.
Pursue your passion for working with animals and prepare for an in-demand career in veterinary health.
They tell Lauren to go back to the house. She has no idea if the killer is coming after her.
Now, why would the 911 operator tell her to go back to the house? That reminds me of what happened to me with a family member. Uh I I briefly talked about it a little bit, and gosh, which video was it? I think it was my video about the GUN violence in Indianapolis. Um yeah, it was probably that one because what happened to me was GUN violence. Um family member, uh, I guess they were going to try to unalive me and two other family members, but they ended up taking their own life instead. And the police forced me back inside the house. I had to see all of it while they were actively dying. So, uh, if if a crime like that has occurred, you don't need to go back in the house, especially if there's a large amount of blood. Like I don't know. I wouldn't go back in the house, especially if you don't know if the person who did it is in the house or not. I think it's better to not go back. It's also less traumatizing, but that's just me.
Her next, but she turns around and heads back. Police arrive around 2:15 a.m. Shortly after police and paramedics get there, Adrian dies too. The attack took just 4 minutes, and Lauren is the only one left alive, with the killer vanishing into the Halloween night.
In a few minutes' time, my entire life was changed. I'd lost my friends, my roommates, and I'd been left untouched. I asked, what do people in my situation generally do? People don't generally survive in this situation. They're usually killed too.
February 2004, 8 months earlier, Lauren and her friend Adrian and Sonia had found a house to rent together in Napa, California.
She really genuinely cared about people and her friends and would do anything for her friends, and that's what I really did admire about her.
With the help of Adrian's friend, Lily, and Lily's boyfriend, Eric, the girls moved their things into the house. Shortly after, they met a group of young women who also lived in the neighborhood. One of them was Leslie Mazzara.
Leslie was very, very outgoing and very spunky. I had never met anyone like her. Just warm and southern hospitality, everything. Everybody kind of was drawn to her.
Leslie's roommates were planning to move out, and Lauren and Adrian invited her to move in with them. They had an open third bedroom, and she moved in June. The three young women became close friends, but 4 months later, their idyllic life is shattered. Police are digging through the horrific scene at the house, searching for any bit of evidence that could help them catch the person who killed Adrian and Leslie, and it's nearly impossible for their friends and family to believe they're gone.
The pain is just excruciating.
I could not accept that someone wanted to kill my child. Someone hated her and wanted her gone.
Investigators find blood on the blinds, where they think the killer broke into the house. They also find zip ties tied together with a rubber band, and cigarette butts right outside. None of the roommates smoked. so the attacker might have smoked outside their house, waiting for a while before breaking in. They don't find a murder weapon, but Leslie and Adrian were both stabbed repeatedly. Police determined that Leslie was likely asleep when she was attacked, and then Adrian ran in, trying to save her friend.
It was a struggle up to the very end. She did not go down lightly.
She was a fighter. She was a scrappy girl. She would have fought very, very hard, and I hope she hurt him.
With how violent the attack was, police don't think it was random. They believe the killer likely knew the girls. Lauren was able to escape, but she lost 2 of her friends over the course of just a few minutes. She was the only other person in the house, and she wants to do all she can to help, but she didn't see the killer's face, and she's worried he could still be after her.
I can only imagine her fear. It must have been just horrible.
Next up, we're packing an order for Molly in Los Angeles, California. She got almost my exact order, so I'm super excited to get into this one.
No one has any idea why Leslie and Adrian were targeted. Police ask around the neighborhood, but because it happened on Halloween night, there were lots of people out in costumes and masks throughout the evening, approaching the different houses in the neighborhood. An intruder could easily sneak around without looking suspicious.
What it does is it turns my world into looking around and having a suspicion about everybody. I was thinking everybody was a suspect. Any of my friends are awful.
Investigators look at the girls' close circle, friends, ex-boyfriends, anyone who might have held a grudge against them for any reason. Leslie was a former beauty queen, and she traveled across the country, meeting and socializing with lots of people. She was also the first one who was attacked, so police wonder if she was the target. They get DNA samples of hundreds of men connected to the girls, their relatives, friends, neighbors, but none of them match what was found at the scene.
You know what this also kind of reminds me of? The Idaho 4 case. When did that happen? 2022, I think? The Brian Koberger. Seemed like a real wackadoo. I don't know how else to put him. I think I haven't followed the case super closely. Um, I think I'm just kind of waiting for it to go to trial because a lot of it is just like, I don't know. Uh, I want to hear more facts about the case rather than hearing people's theories. I mean, hearing theories can be good, but I don't know. Just hearing that over and over and over again, it's kind of like beating a dead horse for me. So I'd rather hear the facts of the case. Like once it goes to trial, I think that'll be really interesting, but they're probably gonna drag it out. Feels like it's been dragged out already. We'll see, but this is eerily similar. I think just a little bit.
They also look at registered sex offenders in the area. Everywhere they turn is a dead end, and it seems like they're not getting any closer to catching who did it. Adrian's mom finds support from Adrian's best friend, Lily, and Lily's husband, Eric. Together, they refuse to give up hope that they'll catch the person who killed them.
Somebody would have had to notice a friend of theirs acting strange or had bruises. It doesn't seem like somebody could just walk away from it and be fine. Somebody must have seen something. Somebody out there knows something.
It's now been months since the attack, and Lauren is still traumatized from what she went through. She's grieving the loss of her friends, but she also faces criticism and doubts about her own story from others. She's overwhelmed with guilt and questions about how.
Oh my gosh, that is exactly like the Idaho 4. What is that? That girl Dylan? Wasn't there 2 other girls there? I think like 2 other roommates, and they weren't attacked at all. I think one of them even saw Brian as he was leaving or something. I don't. That's wild. People have really looked at that other roommate pretty hard from what I can recall. Just it seems suspicious. Like how well I think there was like a delay in when she called 911, and I don't know, there's some like questionable stuff with her, I guess.
How she's still alive when her roommates were both killed. And with no progress in the investigation, she continues to worry that the killer might come back for her. She's constantly looking over her shoulder, wondering if they could be hiding in the shadows.
It's hard to go to sleep, and it's hard to be quiet. When everything goes quiet and it's dark, that's when everything comes back every night. It's the weirdest feeling ever.
So sad.
So I didn't want him to touch me, and my mom would try to console me a little bit. I mean, don't touch me.
Even though she's been suffering, she also does everything she can to help with the investigation. She thinks through all her past conversations with her friends, trying to think if there might be anyone who would want to hurt them, but she can't think of anything. And as police eliminate more and more potential suspects without finding any promising leads, it seems like there's no end in sight. Lauren takes matters into her own hands. She has to do something, and she sets up a phone call with 2 Los Angeles psychics, Marty and Michael Perry. They say they're able to communicate with Adrian and Leslie, and Lauren tells investigators. Desperate for answers, police agree to work with the psychics to see if they can figure anything out. The psychics make a sketch of the killer, saying they're able to put it together with the help of Adrian and Leslie.
I did ask the girls on the other side to send me an image of the perpetrator. The biggest feeling was the goatee.
After the session, they emailed it to me. I remember looking at it, it actually looked familiar.
Lauren sends the sketch to the police, hoping someone else might recognize it too. They add it to the case file, and they schedule an in-person meeting with the psychics. Michael Perry claims to connect with Adrian. This time, he hears a familiar name.
I said to Lauren, "Who's Lily?"
It seems like it could be a breakthrough. Lauren thinks of Adrian's best friend, Lily Prudhomme. Lily, Adrian, Lauren, and Leslie often hung out together, but Lauren has no idea how she could be connected to the murders.
Lauren felt just as I did that it was just Adrian's best friend and that it really didn't have any significance other than Adrian was trying to maybe get a message to Lily.
Leafy fall fun? That's an oh please moment. Stay protected this.
What?
September 2005, nearly a year after the...
I'm just trying to process everything they just said. That's a lot. So it sounds like that friend is probably, which isn't surprising. There's a lot of cases like that. People are crazy.
The attacks. Halloween is approaching again, and with a killer still on the loose, families in Napa are terrified.
Every investigative lead had been followed up, and there were no leads. They could not figure it out.
Police were frustrated. Certainly the victims' families were frustrated.
People were genuinely afraid that the killer might strike again.
September 22nd, police make the decision to reveal to the public that they found a rare brand of cigarette butts at the scene. Camel Turkish Gold. Stores that had them would often only sell 1 or 2 packs a week, and the DNA from the ones left at the scene matched with the killer's blood in the house.
The decision was made that they would come out with some of this information to see if that may get somebody to talk. It might put some pressure on the suspect.
The decision to reveal the brand of cigarettes to the public pays off, making it seem like police were closing in on a suspect. With the pressure growing, a man turns himself in just 5 days later. Adrian...
What a crazy case. Like, it's a Halloween murder, double homicide. You've got psychics, you've got rare cigarettes, you've got potential best friends that are part of the unaliving. Like that's it. It's a lot. That's a lot.
His mom gets a call from the police with the news.
The police sergeant, he told me that they had made an arrest.
My next words were, "Who was it?" And I was not at all prepared for the answer to that question.
The man is Eric Koppel.
I was stunned, and I said, "Lily's husband?" It's like I'm hearing.
I figured that at the beginning. Just look at his face. Huh. Look at him. I don't like his face. There's something about it. I don't know if it's his beady little eyes. Something. I don't know. He's just got some heavy.
Hearing it, but am I hearing the right thing? I thought of him as part of Adrian's intimate circle of friends, the same circle of friends that had been supporting me through this difficult time.
February 2005, 7 months before Eric Koppel turned himself in, he got married to Lily, Adrian's best friend. Adrian was supposed to speak at their wedding, so they asked Adrian's mom to speak in her honor, But now that Eric has been arrested for the murders of Adrian and Leslie, their friends and family can't believe he's been lying to them this whole time.
He kills his wife and her friend, and then he marries one of the friends that he didn't. Uh, were they having an affair behind her back? Does she know? Is this like a Chris Swats thing that actually got to like work a little bit? What the? I've never heard of this case before. That's crazy.
Even pretending to offer his support.
I was just shaking and I was very upset. When I got off the phone, that's when it really kind of hit me and I lost it.
Right away, I was wondering how he could.
Just look at his face. Look at that face. He's got crazy eyes. Crazy eyes. That's an unstable person.
Possibly have been overlooked.
Eric had not been interviewed by the police, even though he was part of the circle of friends.
He was on a list at one point to be interviewed. I don't recall why it didn't happen.
Look at that face. Is this his arrest shot? His mug shot? Man. Again, look at his freaking eyes. He's not home. The lights are on. Nobody's home.
Police finally have the culprit, and he was much closer to home than anyone thought. He also didn't have any criminal record. Investigators find out that Lily and Eric were at a party on Halloween night, and Eric had a lot to drink. He and Lily had a fight, and she dropped him off at their apartment and went to stay at her parents' place for the night, leaving him alone.
He claimed that while he had some memory of leaving his house and taking a knife, he didn't know why he did that.
After the attacks, he burned all his clothes, trying to do everything he could to avoid being caught. But Eric smoked outside the house before breaking in, and saliva from the cigarette butts left at the scene, the blood on the blinds, and Eric's DNA all match.
Man, you gotta love a stupid criminal. Those... God. How terrible. Wow, God.
But even though he turned himself in, he didn't reveal why he killed Adrian and Leslie.
That is the burning question.
He didn't turn himself in until much later. Don't give him any credit.
Question: why? What caused him to commit these horrible murders?
Throughout the investigation, police largely focused on Leslie's connection to the killer. They figured she was the target, but they might have been looking in the wrong place. In March of 2004, 7 months before the attack, Lily called off her engagement with Eric. He had drinking problems.
Oh, they were engaged. Still. It's very, very odd that he murdered her, the other friend, and then turned around and got with the other friend. That just, something doesn't sit right with me about that.
And she was upset that he refused to get help.
It appeared that some people, and possibly Adrian, were telling Lily that she could do better. She shouldn't be any longer involved in this relationship with Eric Koppel, that he wasn't good enough for her or right for her.
Lily seems to come alive when she's with Adrian, and I think he felt threatened.
Adrian and Lily had planned a trip to Australia together, and so he was just deathfully afraid of losing her. So his answer was, kill the one that's in the way of my happiness with Lily. Kill the problem.
Wait,
On December 5th,
am I understanding it correctly? I think I might have got the information backwards. Oh, okay. He still married Lily. He didn't kill Lily, right? I don't want to have to go back and rewatch this. I hate having a TBI.
2006, Eric Koppel pleads guilty to 2 counts of first-degree murder. He accepts a plea deal, and in exchange he doesn't face the possibility of the death penalty. The decision to offer the plea deal was made after talking with Adrian and Leslie's families, who wanted a different punishment for him.
We wanted him to suffer We wanted him to suffer every day for a long, long time.
At Eric Koppel's sentencing, Adrian's mom, Arlene, gets the chance to speak to him directly. In a powerful statement, she forces him to face the reality of what he's done and how many people he's betrayed.
You knew Adrian. She counted you among her friends. You are a man who violently stabbed to death the best friend of the woman you love. You cannot love Lily and bring a knife into Adrian's home and stab her again, and again, and again. While in the coming years, the memory of Leslie and of Adrian will remain clear and shining bright in our hearts, I will think of you no more.
Eric's wife Lily also speaks, offering her support to Adrian and Leslie's families. When she speaks to Eric directly, her statement shocks people in the courtroom, but Adrian's mom still has sympathy for her.
My heart goes out to both Arlene and Kathy, and to the rest of their families and friends. Eric, there is nothing in this world that you could do to make me love you less.
I told.
What? 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 Some of the stuff people say during trials like that, what? How? I wonder if she's still married to him.
Told myself that there was no way that I could know what she was going through. There is no way I could put myself in her position. I think that Lily was like another sister to Adrian. She could not have even suspected that her husband was involved with that.
Then, Eric Koppel speaks. He admits that he was worried his relationship with Lily was falling apart. He even tries to get people to feel for him, breaking down as he claims to feel intense regret for what he's done.
The voice doesn't work. I am a broken man. That sucks. The words evade me to articulate the depths of my sorrow.
I did believe that he was truly remorseful. Those were real tears that he was crying, but not for us. I believe he was crying for himself.
Eric Koppel is sentenced to life without parole. Lily divorces him after he's convicted. Adrian and Leslie's friends and families finally have closure. Their killer has been brought to justice, and he will never be able to hurt anyone again. It's a long healing process, but today, Lauren finds hope in her continuing bond with Adrian and Leslie.
The experience with the Perrys has given me a faith that after we pass, that we can still have a connection to the ones we've loved in this lifetime. And I tell the girls this every day, like, I will never forget them. I'll never forget kind of what they had to go through.
During Leslie's life, she was passionate about child abuse prevention. She even raised money to help build safe houses for abused children. In 2010, Calvary Home for Children built the Mazzara Cottage, named in honor of Leslie, helping to continue her mission of providing shelter and care for kids in need.
Leslie's life speaks for itself. I'm so grateful that I got to be her mom and that she brightened our lives. She was a gift.
Leslie and Adrian's memories live on. Their family and friends continue to think of them every day, spreading the love and care that they showed throughout their lives.
This car is Adrian's car, and I haven't even changed the preset radio button. So every time I get in this car and turn on the radio, I feel that she's with me and that the day is going to be a good day. It makes me feel happy to know.
Oh, God, that is so sad. That is so sad. Let's
That as long as I...
something even more sad. Oh, God. I can't imagine. I just cannot imagine. That's just awful. And what a senseless, absolutely senseless murders. Well, like, yeah, I can't wrap my head around that. That there's so much to this case and nothing at the same time because their murders were literally over nothing. Like okay, so this is Duty Ron. I like this channel. Some covers, a recap on what is.
Case. Was this child abducted? Did he sneak away into the nearby woods? Soon, though, the nature of this investigation would change.
Now, if you don't know, Quentin had been missing. I can't remember how long he was missing for, but I think they quickly figured out that the mom was involved. The grandma also seems suspect, but the mom, at least, is an absolute piece of garbage.
It became a homicide investigation with the attention focused on Quentin's mom. Then the true crime community spotlight started to shine on Leilani Simon and her family. Protesters outside of their home demanded answers and made accusations.
Let me back that up because, oh God, I hate her face. But she's gained some weight since she's been in jail.
Then the true crime community spotlight started to shine on Leilani Simon.
Yes, look at her freaking face. Look at his sweet little face. How could you hurt your sweet little baby? How could you freaking do that? I just don't get it. Okay, I don't need this recap stuff. Here we go. I want the meat and potatoes.
And from Chatham County, this was day 2, folks.
Then later on that night, I took full.
Hello Kitty clock is going off. Oh, I forgot. I was going to make my little box that I'm in just slightly smaller, so I'm not taking up quite as much room. Okay. That should be fine now.
Overall photos of the outside of the residence and the inside of the residence.
So there was initially a period shortly after your arrival where you took a few pictures of the pack and play.
Yes, sir.
And then you backed down.
Yes, sir.
And took many more photographs later.
Yes, sir.
And was that after a search warrant had been obtained for the residence?
Yes.
Okay. How many pictures did you take total, if you remember?
A lot.
Would it refresh your memory?
Yeah, let me look at this real quick. On that day, I took 475 photos.
Holy crap.
In the course of taking those photographs and walking around the residence, did you have an opportunity to examine the front door?
Yes.
Did there appear to be any signs of forced entry or anything like that?
There did not.
Did you see anywhere in the house any obvious signs of a struggle?
I did not.
Okay. Do you see in front of you an exhibit marked as States Exhibit 10?
I'm sorry, what did you?
States Exhibit 10?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Could you lead through that and tell us what that is? You don't have to necessarily look at every picture.
This is the photo from the first day.
Is that all of them or just this selection?
Just a selection.
What is going off the number here? What is the total number of images? You looked at the last page.
114.
All right. Now, do those images fairly and accurately depict the residence and the surrounding area as you photographed it that day?
Yes, sir.
Do they appear to have been altered or modified in any way?
They do not appear to be.
Your Honor, I would move States Exhibit 10 into evidence at this time.
Having reviewed it, judge, no objection.
States Exhibit number 10 is denoted.
And I would ask to publish this exhibit.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Now, this is photograph number 1 of States Exhibit 10. Can you tell us what this is?
This is a photo log. It gives our case number, the location signal, which is the crime or what we're responding to, who went to it, the date of it, and then the time approximately we arrived. We put
side of the pool from where we are right
A lot of people never got to see this part, Ed, because this is the back side of the house, and they had a big fence on their driveway where you couldn't get up and into the back. And this is like kind of the first time seeing this backyard setup.
My pool water looks nasty. That's not something I'd want to be getting into. It looks a little green.
Pool looked like it wasn't maintained properly.
Yeah.
There was a green water in there, algae and everything, or whatever. But it gives you an idea. This pool was drained or looked at, I believe.
Yeah.
When they were initially looking for Quentin.
There's a theory that he drowned in the pool and Leilani found him, kind of similar to the Casey Anthony case. Car What was her daughter's name? Oh God. Was it Carly? Kaylee. Kaylee. That's what it was. Okay. Um, yeah. They thought that she had drowned. There was an accident, and then she panicked and then tried to cover it up. But it's like if it was really an accident, why would you have to dispose of the body of your child? Because it wasn't an accident. Like it's that simple. You're an absolute piece of trash.
And this crime scene unit investigator seemed like he took quite a bit of photos. Didn't hear anything about sketches. I wanted to go to you on your opinion on what was done here by Chatham County initially. Again, it was a missing person, missing child.
Right. Again, how many times have we seen this where the initial responding officers keep treating just as a missing persons and not thinking to treat it to the higher standard as a possible homicide investigation?
Kids never just go missing. They don't. Well, I mean, sometimes they do disappear, but like you know what I mean? They don't just disappear. They don't, there's either a parent's not paying attention fully or something's happened to the child. That's
And in doing so, make some mistakes and let evidence slip through the cracks. Now, it appears to me, though, later on you will see that they did some scanning, some 3D laser scanning, because the floor plan they're using appears to have come from a scanner.
Okay.
That will be coming up. But as you saw, as you just showed right there, I mean, there was something that he thought was possible blood and vomit in the pack and play, but he never tested it and never took it.
Never vouched it, never took it, never tested
Yeah.
it. This is the diagram that you.
Why wouldn't you take that and test it? That makes no sense. And you don't find blood and vomit in a pack and play. That sounds like a head injury to me, or possibly abdominal injuries, but uh uh, that sounds like he was beat and he probably suffered. Mm.
Are referring to as the 3D possible 3D scan.
Yeah, it looks like it's from a 3D scan. I mean, this house, its floor plan is so chaotic. It looks like this house had went through several rounds of expansion, and I mean, the floor plan makes no sense to me whatsoever. You'd have bathrooms like that are like. I can't make any rhyme or reason how you traverse this house and where things are. But that's the front door, right? And there are two other doors, one in the dining room that goes out to the pool area, one in the living room that goes out to the gated area where I guess they pen the children in, outside of the, that's the front entrance, outside away from the pool.
Yeah, and this is the driveway that leads up to the backyard, but there's a gate here that closes. Yeah. We knew
and
that.
then to the left is a carport with an RV, I believe, and some truck.
Right there.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the gated off area that you just referred to, Ed. Maybe where they kept the kids and so forth. But it definitely looked cluttered, chaos.
Yeah, I mean, in the interior of the house too. I mean, the way these people were living, it suggested that the house was very unkept, and was in need of a good straightening out.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Now, if this was amylase, if this was vomit, because I think he's saying vomit, but it could have been vomit, especially if there was some kind of blunt force trauma impact to the child. You might expect a baby to bleed, but if there was some bleeding coming from the mouth area, because this looks like it may be amylase, but we'll never know because he never took it, never had it tested.
Right, absolutely. Look who's here, our great friend Billy Ryan from Ryan Investigative.
Billy,
retired first grader, right?
Yes.
From the arson and
explosion, A&E.
Yes, A&E. Thank you, Billy, for being here. Good to see you, my brother. Hope you all is well and you're doing good. But Ed, so a regular. Hey, by the way, is anybody catching on to our Halloween vibes in the Duty Ron banner up above, right above here on the top? That was courtesy of Josh, our producer. May he rest in peace. November 11th is going to come up on a year. But for those of you who are watching the trial, right away, like, of course, because I'm hanging around with you, I'm getting more educated, Ed. But right away, when I saw this, I thought blood. In your professional opinion, like, obviously, I know the answer to this, but I have to lead you into this.
Looks
What
like
would you have done with
vomited.
this, Ed, if you came across that?
Looks like vomited blood to me. It's definitely not just blood. It looks like there's other fluids mixed with it.
Well, looking at it right there, I would describe it as a reddish brown stain, possible blood. I would have tested it with a field presumptive test for blood. I wouldn't use luminol or blue star, no, because I can visibly see this. All right, I would break out like a Kastle-Meyer or a phenolphthalein test or one of the other tests and test
What's
it.
Kastle-Meyer?
It's a field presumptive test for blood, but we use OBTI. OBTI is more specific to humans, and so if it would have came back positive, I would have suspected a human, possible human source for this reddish brown stain. I would have picked the whole thing up and I would have wrapped it up, put it in a paper bag, and shipped it off to the laboratory for confirmation. And if it was in fact blood, then DNA. And also, I want to see. You see these stringy sections over here? Over to, yeah, right there, like these stringy sections. That's what we call, that is similar in appearance to amylase and saliva. And I would be looking at, now he called it vomit, but it doesn't appear to be vomit to me. It appears to be amylase as if it came out. It's like a mucal material. And I would have that tested and they would tell me definitively if that was mucus or amylase. And then that would say, okay, this came from the victim's nose, the victim's mouth. Okay. Whatever the source of that.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Ed, and those of you in the chat, correct me if I'm wrong, because we don't have it all right all the time. But I recall the detective when the cross-examination started. And Dr. Berry, thank you for being here. Thank you for all your coverage. Ed, we have to get her on. Dr. Berry, psychologist responds. She's got a great channel. I'd love to have her on some of these cases. Holy shit! I can't believe that I had it on. I mean, I didn't plan that. Let's hear him talk about that. And of course, I just missed the spot, and I just lost.
You were right there.
Yeah.
Do you see that substance there?
Yes, sir.
Did you get a good look at it while you were out there?
I did, sir.
And what, if anything, did it appear to you to be?
I believe it to be vomit.
Okay. Did it appear to be blood?
It didn't.
Okay.
It's a lot redder in that picture than it actually was.
You're saying it's appearing redder on the screen than it actually was when you were out there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did not appear to be blood?
No.
Right, there's a
You can see the discoloration in that pillow. Why wouldn't you test just to find out what it is?
larger look at it, and you could see some staining here towards the bottom, over here, up.
Okay, I have 2 kids, and that's not something I would expect to see on a pillow. I don't use a pack and play, but I still wouldn't expect to see that on a pillow from one of my kids that looks like something like vomit. That's the only time I think I would expect it, but it doesn't even really look like vomit. Again, it looks like what that retired in what Ed Wallace. It looks like what Ed said, like blood and mucus mixed together. It's odd. It's very odd looking.
I mean, Ed, you would, and you, I know this from being around you. You would have took that whole thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I would have taken all that bedding that's in there. All right, and I would have brought it in the pillow, everything. Okay, I would have individually packaged it, wrapped it in paper, and sealed it up, and got it to the laboratory, and let them figure out what this is. Okay, and then I mean, did anybody, if again, and if I was there and the mother was present, or any of the caregivers were present, then I would say, "Hey, can anybody explain this?"
Look at this pack and play. This is the item that we were looking at there.
Yeah, the pillow.
There's tons of stuff. There's tons of other stains.
Oh man, if I would have hit that with an alternate light source, I'm sure it would have glowed.
It would have lit up like a Christmas tree. Our good friends Hatfield and McCoy are in the building. Thank you. That's Sheila and Fred. Oh my Lanta. Talk about when they found the remains of the shooter. Interesting story.
Way, and that was important evidence. We lost it.
And the first thing the defense asked them is why? Why didn't you voucher that? Let me just speed it up a little bit.
56. Just panning through
the interior of the home.
Panning through the dining room, you can start to see the kitchen entrance door or entrance on your right hand side.
57.
57. The dining room doors are right behind me, looking into the kitchen through the dining room.
Okay. 58.
Continue panning right. That's a little storage closet, and you have a deep freezer.
Still in the dining room here.
Still in the dining room.
And 59, where have we moved and what are we looking at?
So I have moved around. The kitchen entrance is to my left. I'm in that corner and I'm looking towards the bathroom door. And you can see the dining room door on the very right of the picture.
All right, so that dark wood door in the middle that we're looking at is the door that you came through to get into the dining room?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then the white door on the right is the door to the outside.
Yes.
They call the dining room door. 60.
Now I'm on the other side of the dining room or the kitchen door. The closet is going to be on my left. And then you can see the edge of the bathroom door that I came through. And now you can see the dining room door leading outside.
61, you just pan to the right a little more.
Yes, sir.
62, same.
Same.
63, same.
Same.
64, where are we at?
64, we are in the doorway and looking into the kitchen from the dining room.
And can we see the sinks in this picture?
Yes, sir.
You mentioned there's something that you called a pass-through window over the sinks. Is that at least partially visible in this picture?
Yes, sir. If you
pan to the right a little more.
Yes, sir.
62, same.
Same.
How important are all these photographs? Because I saw people in the chat on day 2. I don't know if it was Law and Crime or Court TV, Ed. How important are the interior pictures of these homes?
Well, it goes. Yeah, you have to take these overall photographs to show the state of the living conditions. Okay, that are present at the time that you're being called there. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that the scene hasn't been altered from the time of the incident to the time you respond there. It most likely was altered, and we know it was altered because the baby's gone, and other things from that pack and play I would surmise have gone as well with the baby, never to be recovered again. But it's important to show, how things were occurring in this house and how people were living in the state of the living conditions.
Yeah, and they're showing it here.
I don't know if I can see that in that picture.
Lots of clutter.
All right.
It looks like a normal that I've seen worse clutter than that. That looks like a normal house. I don't well, except for that crib. That crib was a little and the closet was a little disorganized, but the rest of the house really didn't look like it didn't really look like a whole lot.
How did the vehicle get from 535 Buck Halter to the FBI City Hall?
It was towed.
All right, so I want to talk about the vehicle, Ed, because this has to do with forensics. And yeah, they're looking at garbage pails, they're looking at tons of stuff inside inside and outside of the garage. But the vehicle, Leilani's Dodge Journey 2015. We're going to see it here in these. Yeah, I believe this is it. Yes. How important is that in the case? Because it's alleged that she took poor baby Quentin in that vehicle and dumped him like garbage into that garbage dumpster a distance away from her home outside of that mobile home park.
Right, in a trailer park, right?
Yeah.
It's very important because they have CCTV footage of that vehicle along the route to and from the trailer park. They also have it going into the trailer park. They have it approaching the dumpster. They have a time frame that it's at the dumpsters. They have it pulling away from the dumpsters, and so forth. And then, the investigation showed, hey, that dumpster was picked up at this time, on this date, and it was deposited in this landfill at this location in the landfill. And they slammed on the brakes of putting any more garbage at that location. The FBI goes there, law enforcement goes there, and sure enough, they found the remains in that area where that particular dumpster was deposited.
How important is the vehicle processed? Processing it. People ask, what do you process it with? Blue Star.
Well, you're going to give it a full look. First, you try to do all the non-destructive stuff first. You photograph the exterior, interior of the vehicle. You document in written notes how you found the interior and the exterior, the condition of the vehicle. Next, then you get into non-destructive searches with alternate light sources. You're looking for all kinds of different body fluid stains that might be deposited in there. Now, you see in the back, there was a photograph of white powder all over the back of the cargo area. And the crime scene detective surmised that it was some kind of cereal. Okay. All right. He did some kind of, mixed it with water to see. I don't know what that was all about, but, again, when in doubt, take a sample, send it to the lab, have it tested, see what it is. In fact, what it is. Okay. Stop thinking, oh, it's just a missing persons case. Okay. Treat it to the higher standard, bring it to the lab, let them tell you exactly what it is, and let them explain how it got there.
And you can
what's the story for this?
And Ed, you're 100% right, but you could see that same type of white powder along the sill of the door here, and on the in the driver's side here. I think ahead of the game here, when you look at the actual location where it's alleged that she took the baby and put him in the dumpster, I would look for soil and debris and matter to
Absolutely.
be brought, right? Am I off on
No,
that?
the cards exchange principle, exactly. You would go grab some soil from the dumpster, all right, area. What's ever on the ground there? Is it sandy? What are we dealing with here? And then you take samples of that and see if you can find that same material. So then now also on
and
better to have it and not need it than not have it and need it.
There you go.
All right.
A lot of people in the chat are asking, does Georgia have the death penalty? They're not seeking the death penalty in this case, and I don't believe Georgia has the death penalty. I could be wrong. I'm not an expert there.
Shoot, I'm gonna look it up. Does Georgia have the death penalty? Like what? I would be surprised if they don't. I mean, yes, Georgia does have the death penalty. Why wouldn't they seek? What? I can't. Um, That's really confusing to me why they wouldn't seek the death penalty in this case, unless they just want her to suffer life in prison without parole, which I do think that's fitting for certain cases, but then there's certain cases where I think the death penalty is absolutely necessary. This case, Leilani's so arrogant, and the way she acted while they were looking for Quentin, I think she deserves the death penalty. I don't think that she deserves life in prison without parole. Oh, Lord.
They're charging her with 3 counts of murder. She's looking at life without the possibility of parole upon conviction. There's 19 charges all in total. What do you got up on the screen from Carrie, our good friend from Florida?
Yeah, she was talking about how uh, that the defendant mouthed right, and it was caught by the camera in the courtroom. That's a fucking lie. When a witness was on the stand and people heard it, it was, you could see what she said on the television screen. And there was a hearing about it today where the judge warned her not to do that.
Not a good look. She did that in front of the jury. I'm sure the jury is instructed on it, but she's not giving she's I say this all the time, but she is her own worst enemy, because the demeanor, that how she's carrying herself in court, and the way she was looking at, I believe it was a former boyfriend or a friend, the guy who was talking about, I get hungry while I'm being interrogated for 14 hours, so I ordered Uber. I ordered Uber Eats because they promised me a pizza and they didn't give me a pizza. She was laughing about that. Lady, you stand accused of murdering your child, your own flesh and blood. You shouldn't be laughing in the courtroom. You shouldn't be smiling. You shouldn't be, there should be nothing funny about this. And
It's just like Casey Anthony. She's sitting there laughing it up with her freaking attorney. Is that Jose Baez? Am I thinking of the right person? Or is that that's either her attorney or it's like a baseball player. Uh Casey Anthony. Hold on. Oh my gosh. No, I don't want Reddit. Ah, it's Jose Baez. Okay. I was correct. Didn't they have an affair together or something? Or there was like a rumor. She's a mess, man. She's still a mess. I should do a live on her. I feel like if I do a live, I'll focus on stuff that's like not in the Midwest, and then like my actual like videos that I put out, I'll do stuff that's only in the Midwest. I don't know. Maybe I'll just do a free for all. Fuck it.
I don't care what the witness is doing and how theatrical that guy was being. It was just, it actually made me happy that she was doing it, because she's hurting herself. The jury's looking at it.
Right?
That's another thing too. There was Angela, Angelia. Yes, it could be rice cereal, but didn't take a sample, so we'll never really know. Again, we can't leave unopened questions like this, especially when all the defense has to do is create reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
Okay. So how difficult is this to grab a sample of this stuff and ship it to the lab and say, tell me what this is?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Another thing that really bothered me too is when the forensic anthropologist from the FBI was testifying, and you have all of these bones of this woman's child up on the screen. No freaking emotion.
None.
None.
Zero. I focused.
Stone cold.
It's because she only cares about herself, which makes me also think about Gypsy Rose and Casey Anthony. There's a lot of similarities. They're all very narcissistic, and you could see that with Leilani immediately after the disappearance of Quentin. I the way she acted was just, it was like she was taunting people. She knew she was going to go to jail. I think. I don't know. I think maybe she thought in her twisted head that she wasn't going to go to jail. I'm honestly surprised that her mom didn't go to jail. I still think that she should have gone to jail. She was in the. Was she home? She might have been on vacation or something. I can't remember. It's hard to remember. Um, because I watched everything live. I remember watching the search for Quentin and then them looking in the landfill. I mean, that's just, there's a case here in Indiana. There's a landfill that's north of me. There's a woman who was murdered by her boyfriend or her husband, and the police are very certain that she's there, but they don't have the money and the resources to go in there and dig around and find her. And she's been missing for like 10 or 11 years now, just laying in that landfill underneath all of that garbage. It's, I feel so bad for her family. I can't imagine knowing or thinking or being almost positive that my child, family member, friend, whoever I care about is in a landfill and dead and there's nothing I can do about it. That's it's just awful. I was surprised that they were able to find anything left of Quentin because he was a toddler. Was he 2? I don't think he might have been 2 or around 18 months, something like that, give or take. And that that's not a whole lot to find, especially if he's crushed up. And I don't think they found a whole lot of him from what I remember. So just the fact that, I mean, they had to really pick through everything. I remember they had everything out, like like a couple of rows, just picking through all that trash. That's just awful, absolutely awful. I I just can't imagine hurting my child.
I focused in on that heavy duty. Yes, thank you, Gladys. And I know a lot of people corrected me. I said in the beginning of this, I didn't get to watch this trial. Was 6, 7, 8 hours a day. I work full time. I got a lot going on, so I didn't.
Yeah, I can't sit here like my my oldest is in school now, and I have a oh, oh well, it's midnight. He's 10 months old now. Hooray for him. But yeah, like I gotta he's a Velcro baby. He wants to be held all the time. He's very sweet. But he does not like being on the floor, so it's hard to get anything done around the house. So that's all I do all day is take care of the kids, clean the house, and then work on my YouTube stuff whenever I can. Um, that's just, oh my goodness, I cannot. I just cannot. Oh.
Pay close attention to all of the testimony. I did see it,
Yeah.
and I did, see the people.
Yeah, that's why trailed off. I I can't sit here and like watch stuff like all freaking day long or even just have it playing in the background because like there's so much noise going on in a house when you have kids. Like you need quiet. I need like the sound deprivation. I love being in a quiet room with like no sound and the doors shut and just sitting sitting and existing. It's nice. Yeah, and then I like when, channels like Duty Ron here, they do lives and they do like condensed versions of stuff because then I can just consume it and like skim through stuff because they do a lot of like talking and pausing and stuff. I mean, I do the same thing, but I I know this isn't exactly this is an hour and 30-minute long video. I know this isn't all an hour and 30 minutes of them just watching this because they're breaking stuff down. So yeah, it's a lot easier to
People.
watch
But
this.
yes, thank you, Gladys, the Pizzo. Thank you for correcting me. That was her brother. He was acting like a fool at one point, just for a short period of it. He was being theatrical. Yeah, I get hungry, and she was laughing like it was a big joke.
She shed not one tear when these broken bones of her shattered baby was on the screen. Not one tear. She didn't turn her head away.
Yep.
I couldn't believe it.
That makes me sick to my stomach. Like I just oh
This is not normal behavior.
Piece of
no.
work. For those of you in the chat,
She
you feel that Leilani is they have enough to get a guilty verdict thus far. It's only 1 week
I
into
could
this thing. I don't know
feel
how
a
long
room
this trial
alone
is
with
going to last.
Leilani
It
Simon.
didn't see the predictions, whether it's going to be a week, 2 weeks.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that feel the same way. God help her when she gets to prison.
I mean, obviously, we're going to continue on Monday. So, just by a show of hands, thus far in week one, has the state proven their case beyond a reasonable doubt that Leilani?
Yeah, I would say
That's
so.
still
I
the
think it's
driver's
a hard
side,
case to prove.
steering wheel, and
But then again, I remember watching the Casey Anthony trial live. I think the case happened like when I was in middle school going into high school, and then well, like the unaliving happened then, and then the trial didn't happen for like a couple of years after that, and it was like by the time I was going into my senior year of high school, or I was already done with it. I can't remember. I have to look it up the dates. But um I just remember being like that was all I was that was like all I was doing pretty much is like I'd go to work, come home, watch the trial. If I was off from work, I'd watch the trial. That's all I did was watch that trial. Like I was I was too young for the OJ. Did that happen in 94? I was baby. I was like a year old. So like the Casey Anthony case was kind of like my OJ trial, like where it's just like everybody was glued to it, and then the verdict comes back and it's just like holy crap. Like I got just how? If Leilani gets off for this, I will be surprised and not surprised at the same time. You know what I mean? That's just kind of how our justice system is over here in America. Like it can be a real toss up sometimes, but at the same time, like you have to prove things with a reasonable doubt. Like you it's complicated. I just had jury duty summons for the first time and I was so excited. So excited. I went there this week. I was all ready and there's like I mean, I don't know if this is normal for like all jury summons, but they had so many freaking people there. There was like over 40 people, I think. And I was like number 31 or 32 and they had three different pools of people to select from and I ended up in the third pool and they dismissed my entire group. Like they didn't need to call any of us up to the jury box to ask any questions to weed through us. So that sucked because I sat there for 4 hours for no reason, really. No reason whatsoever. It was cool to see like the process and everything and to hear like a little bit about the case and to see the prosecutor because he was a good lawyer. He was really good. I hope it went well for for that person. Um it seemed like a tough case. It was a felony assault case. Um but yeah, it was interesting to see that process. I can't imagine having to sit on a trial for a murder and especially a murder like this that I would man man that it would be really hard. Well, not one like this on well it would be hard to like listen to the testimony and stuff and see the evidence, but it would not be hard for me to convict. But like I said, they have to prove things within a reasonable doubt. So I mean, if you have any doubt, just a little bit, you know, that's how you end up with a hung jury. Stuff like that. Like stuff can get pretty dicey.
you can see the gear shifter.
There's a treasure trove of evidence in this car. Has to be. And I'm curious to know if they fully processed this thing.
Leilani didn't
Our
clean
good
it.
friend down the rabbit hole is here. Shout out to you. Thank you, Rabbit Hole News. And thank you for all your coverage on all of these different types of cases. She does cover.
Yeah, you would think so. Again, the Locard's exchange principle, right? You would think you would have some exchange, but see, here's the thing: the kid has been in and out of this car, and so fingerprints, DNA, hairs and fibers,
The amount of DNA that's probably in the back of my car from my kids is kids are just if you ever watch Bluey, the way they depict the back of the car with the kids is very accurate. It's so accurate. It's a beautiful chaotic mess with kids. It's just constant.
And there's other
Limit,
children. There's two other
yeah,
kids too.
there's limited probative
She has
information with those.
Leilani has like two other kids. I think she had a baby after she had Quentin too. So uh, this kind of sounds like one of those cases where an abusive parent targets one child, maybe, or maybe she just took it too far with Quentin that time, and maybe she does stuff to the other kids too. I don't know. It's not really clear. It, as far as I'm aware, I don't know exactly how she took Quentin's life. I don't think it was clear. I'm not sure if they've said anything about it yet at trial. I hope it comes out. But they also may not know because of the way she disposed of his body and how there wasn't a lot of him left. So it's hard to forensically piece all that back together when all you have is like fragments of a very tiny little baby's body. I mean, it's not like he was a newborn or anything like that, but he was very tiny. So that's hard to piece together.
Those things because of that legitimate access.
Right.
But now, I mean, if we had blood and we had vomit and we had amylase and we had all this other stuff in here.
So in Casey Anthony's car, there was I remember there was hair from Kaylee, specifically hair after she had died, because the hair follicles I think is what changes or something. Something changes. Maybe it's the hair root, but they can tell after you've died if the hair that is left behind, if it's left behind pre or post mortem. So it's pretty interesting. I wonder if they found any of Quentin's hair in the back of her car, because I would say hair is probably the easiest thing to find because it sheds really easily, other than like skin cells maybe, but yeah.
Well, then that has to be explained.
100%. 100.
With the hatch open.
Now, this whitish substance, is that something that you all put in there?
No, we did not put that.
Was it already in there when you opened the car?
Yes, sir.
And had you in fact seen it at the scene the day before on the 5th?
The trunk?
Yeah, I mean, had you seen through the window the stuff?
Yes.
So this was in there during the police response?
Yes.
It's already there. It's not something that got in there between the 911 call, or at least between police arrival and your photograph in the car.
Yeah, they had.
Do you know what it was?
Not 100% sure. We did do we took a sample of it and we did do a little self-test there. Kind of appeared to be a like kid cereal.
What
baby cereal.
you said
We took a sample of it, put it in some hot water and stirred it up. Kind of had a grainy oaty smell.
Ed.
I don't know why they would do that. First of all, they don't know what this is. Well, white powder can be explosives.
Right.
White powder can be biological material. White powder can be narcotics. White powder can be just about anything. And, it could be water reactive. And now you just mix it with water and go boom in your face.
More importantly, could they have stored the body of Quentin Simon in the back trunk there and then placed whatever that is down to try to get any type of leakage or anything to cover it up?
What if that's powdered carpet cleaner? What if there was liquids that oozed out of the baby in the cargo area, and now they're just trying to use this stuff to absorb it?
Right? Like when my first job, I worked at Outback Steakhouse, and we had like vomit powder. So if somebody, because it happened a lot more than you would probably think, but people would throw up, and you had to put the vomit powder down, and it would kind of congeal, so you could, that's I- that could be something that she was trying to do. Have just put powder down to soak up any liquid, because it's like, what the hell is going on in this trunk and like in the rest of the car? What is with all this dang powder? It almost looks like borax. What the heck is that? Or like the baking soda carpet, the freshening powder. but it looks thicker. Like it's odd looking. What the heck is it? It doesn't quite look like infant rice. Maybe infant oatmeal, but it doesn't look like rice to me. It's odd.
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, pull a sample and run it to the lab. Screen it. You screen it for radiation. You screen it for
Right?
explosivity and flammability. You screen it for pH, and you screen it for volatility. Once you have those four screenings, and if it's not dangerous, you package it up and you ship it to the lab. Also, you do a protein test on it to see if it's possible by.
It seems like the ball was dropped so many times for forensic testing. I don't understand why a child is missing, a toddler. I would go as far as to say that he was still a baby. I mean, he could walk. He's so little. He's a baby. He still had little baby fat on his face. I I just don't understand why they wouldn't. You have to have hard evidence to convict somebody, so you wouldn't want there to be any question, again, any reasonable doubt that Leilani didn't do this, or maybe they'll try to say that, oh, it was second degree murder, like it was an accident or something. Like I don't. Oh.
Biological.
Yeah.
And then you ship it to the lab and say, "What is this?"
I'm calling the police on the police. Oh my God.
Yeah, right.
This freaks me out when I see stuff like this. And it's just scary that this goes on.
And how long is this in here? When was it first seen? When did this come? Did anybody answer out to what this powder was during their interviews?
You have more questions than answers with this case, is what it seems. Even once you get to trial, I, y- I just don't understand how, as an officer, you wouldn't just do all that. You wouldn't just go through all the testing, because I mean, in theory, right? Whatever you're working on is going to go to trial at some point, right? I mean, that would be the thinking. It should. Well, why wouldn't you? You are literally part of the process to convict somebody or help get somebody off. But most of the time, it's to convict somebody, because that's kind of what the evidence helps build. So, uh, I can't stand incompetence. It's uh
Yeah, or weedy smell.
And did it dissolve in
Said
water?
it was like a weedy type smell.
It did.
Did it appear to you to likely be some kind of children's cereal?
It did.
Is it me, or his questions seem a bit leading?
They're definitely leading, but the defense crosses him, and he really didn't. He didn't eat him up. He just asked him why he didn't voucher the blankets and so forth. But it's quick, so let's listen.
how bizarre.
I'd like to know who who trains these police departments. I know it's not you, because if you trained them, they would be doing it the right way. But it just freaks me out that we can have a child who was murdered.
Yeah. There needs to be standard training across the board, because there's just, I mean, not even just murder cases. I've dealt with crap in my own personal life this past week with having to get a PO order, a protective order, against a neighbor of mine. And I cannot get the local police department in the town that I live in to place harassment charges against the people. So I have a hearing for the PO order in like a week or two. So we'll see. I can't really get into it yet. I made a funny video edit. I have videos of my neighbor being absolutely batshit crazy. Um, I may end up uploading it on here. I don't know. It depends on if the PO order goes through. If that goes through, then I won't. So I'm not trying to poke a bear. I got other things going on in my life that are more important than crazy town behind my house. So, um, if the PO order doesn't go through, then it's game on, and I'm posting it on here. I don't know if I'll post it directly to this channel. I do have like a personal channel that I've not uploaded anything to yet. I had it set up originally as a paranormal channel, but I I don't think I'm gonna regularly be getting into paranormal stuff all the time enough for me to make it like a full channel. So I'll dabble in it and I'll just kind of upload things over there and like I don't know, whatever I feel like doing over on that channel. Whenever I get that set up more, I'll make an announcement over here and post stuff and then you guys can go over there if you want to do it. If not, whatever, I don't care. But um yeah, if the PO order does not go through, I will post the funny edit of my crazy neighbor on there cuz like I said, it's game on after that cuz uh fuck them respectfully. I don't know how else to say it. But yeah, personal experience, department policies, they vary from department, and depending on what officer you get also will depend on if they want to do anything or not. It's very frustrating. I don't understand it. There needs to be a standard, and like and like this case, I just especially a murder case, it just makes no sense to me.
Murdered and thrown in a landfill, thrown out as garbage in a garbage container and taken to a landfill, and months, a month's search or more had to be conducted with multiple agencies, the FBI specialists. They had the Adam team.
Yeah, if the FBI is coming in, if you have fucked up so bad that the FBI has to get involved in the missing persons case to help find your child, man, there needs to be more and better police work. I don't
Team down
understand it.
there from the FBI searching the landfill, and this is the investigation that's part of the beginning of it. It's, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, we can say baby infant cereal or rice cereal all we want. We really don't know, do we? I mean, they can say that's what it is, right? But shouldn't
Looks
we
like oatmeal
validate what they're telling us
rice.
with having it tested in the lab to confirm, in
Yeah.
fact, what it is?
You're just giving the defense a ground ball to create reasonable doubt, and that you don't
Yes.
want that. You don't want that.
Yes.
17.
This is
At my jury summons thing this week, there were people who didn't understand what a reasonable doubt meant. And they also didn't understand that the defendant doesn't have to testify and that the defendant not testifying does not make them guilty. They thought it made the defendant look guilty. I'm like, oh my God. God help us. God help us. Cause like I can't I I love the way our jury system is supposed to work, like the whole judicial system, how it's set up. In theory, I love that we're allowed to be a part of the system and help, judge. You're judged by a jury of your peers. In theory, that should work, but then you see you get in there and you see the reality of it and how much people don't understand the judicial process. And I get it. I mean, it's like learning a different language, but like before I even started this channel, I would sit here and, watch trial footage sometimes, like depending on what I was getting into. Like I was just casually researching cases just for fun. And then if you watched my the Aaron Schaff housing video that I did recently, I talked about the car wreck that I was in September of 2022. um, I got a traumatic brain injury and it just led me to this path to being to being on YouTube. I spending more time at home. I can't do things. Um, so just focused on researching stuff to try to get my mind off of my own problems. And I think it's important to talk about these cases. So here I am. But yeah, man, I I don't know. I trailed off and I can't think because of my TBI. It's great. Um, shoot. No, I'm just gonna hit play because I can't remember now. If you have a TBI, you know.
The passenger side rear door and looking into the vehicle from the passenger side.
What's that there in the floorboard?
That is a natural light beer can.
She's got a natty light
Straw
can.
there.
Oh my god.
19.
Front passenger door.
I
That's
stand
nasty.
discrepancy. Now, slide 2. What is this here? What are we looking at?
These are the community dumpsters in the Azalea Mobile Home Park.
All right. And what is that we
How can you put your baby in a dumpster? How can you take the life of your child you carried for potentially like 9 to 10 months if you didn't have any complications? And you take care of him for how long? However long he was alive. And then you just, I will never understand people that kill their kids. I just don't get it. I mean, taking the life of a child in general is just, I just don't understand it. But then just, I don't know. It's harder for me to get it when it's a parent. It's just such a betrayal. And I have to wonder because, like I mentioned, like we don't know exactly how he died. So, but given the evidence in that pack and play, I'm gonna say it was a violent and prolonged experience for him. Kind of makes me think of Harmony Montgomery. I what Adam, her dad punched. He was punching her, and then she was I think the last time he had hit her, she was making like these horrible sounds in the back seat, like these moaning sounds, and then eventually she stopped because she died. Like, I think she threw up or something. As she was, I think she was under so much stress, she was peeing in the back seat or something. I think that's one of the reasons why Adam hit her. Some people should not have children. Like they should just not have children.
see on the far right side of the frame?
There's a white Jeep
All right.
belonging to one of the staff members of the Azalea.
Okay. And that is sitting right next to the standard dumpsters, right?
Yes.
Moving to slide 3, where are we? First of all, where are we?
So we are, this building on my right is the Azalea main office, right as you enter the park.
And I believe this is the only camera that had a view straight through here to the where the dumpsters were, and you could see her car. But it's none of it is anything concrete where you can actually see her or make out the license plate or make out anything. What do you got in Gladys?
Gladys is asking if they still have the car, is it possible to find that material that was in the back, even though it's so long?
Work back that way because that's where you were at. With regard to these, States Exhibit number 55 that we just discussed the 80-minute time discrepancy. Okay. Did you ever do any?
Mr. Shinker's.
Give me 1 second. I think it's me.
Okay.
This is down in Georgia. And Lonnie Simon.
Is that better?
Yeah, this is down in Georgia.
Sorry about that, Mr. Okay, so let's just start with the Azalea cams first. Okay, so on October 7th and October 9th, you noticed some sort of time discrepancy, correct?
Yes.
And you documented, and that's what we just dealt with, correct?
Bad. Don't do
Did you ever inquiry or find out when the discrepancy began?
No, sir.
You were just sent out there to collect the footage then?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you made no further inquiry other than just to note it?
I personally did not. I don't know if my sergeant or the other officer did.
And again, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, just asking what you did, okay? So you noted the discrepancy, but you didn't get to the bottom of it or find out when it started, correct? All right. So let's back up a little bit and go to State's Exhibit 11, which was the one you did prior to that one. So on October 6th, you got...
That's a good comment. Yeah, Casey Anthony was more likable. But her little smirks and shit that she made during the trial, her giggling to Jose Baez, that was pretty... Man, it was bad. It was not a good look for her. I will be shocked until I die as she got off. Shocked until I die. And Leilani's not helping herself by how she's acting, and she didn't help herself. She was like very combative, I remember, towards people and just like egging them on when they're outside her house protesting. Ugh.
The
cannot.
Dodge Journey, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you photographed the Dodge Journey,
Right?
correct?
Why would she
Did you
go
do anything else?
testify? She's only going to incriminate herself. If she has a good lawyer, they're not going to let her testify. Testifying is not going to benefit her, and it's also not going to hurt her. But the evidence should hurt her.
Other than that, or just take photographs?
Photographed it. We did alternate light on the vehicle to see if there was any like fabric or anything from the scene. We did do a couple swabs of the substance in the back, and we did blue star the vehicle.
Ed?
Yes.
So he's saying that he blue starred the vehicle, alternate light sources.
Yes. And he got one little spot that he called it fluoresce, and it's not fluoresce. Blue Star doesn't cause fluorescence. It causes chemical luminescence, which is a total different animal. And he got one spot to give him a reaction.
Well, and that's why I'm asking is just based on the testimony I heard, it seemed like it was just a bunch of pictures you were taking, but there was a lot more to it than that, wasn't there?
Yes.
Okay, so how many people were out there that day on October 6th, I guess, examining the vehicle?
Myself and Corporal Shriver.
Okay, so two of you.
Yes.
Okay. And so you went through the vehicle and you noted the alcohol containers, correct? Did you seize those?
Did I see them?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so they were taken into evidence, correct?
No.
They weren't taken into evidence?
No.
Just photographed them?
Just photographed.
All right.
Did he stop, Ron? Did he say, "Did you see that," or did you seize them?
Well, let's see.
Because I thought he said, "Did you seize them?" And I think the witness thought he said, "Did you see them?" And he said, "Yes."
Yeah.
What?
Opened into a play area. You got the Dodge Journey, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you photographed the Dodge Journey,
Yes,
correct?
sir.
Did you do anything else other than that, or just take photographs?
Photographed it. We did alternate light on the vehicle to see if there was any like fabric or anything from the scene. We did do a couple swabs of the substance in the back, and we did blue star the vehicle.
Well, and that's why I'm asking is just based on the testimony I heard, it seemed like it was just a bunch of pictures you were taking, but there was a lot more to it than that, wasn't there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so how many people were out there that day on October 6th, I guess, examining the vehicle?
Myself and Corporal Shriver.
Okay, so two of you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so you went through the vehicle and you noted the alcohol containers, correct? Did you seize those?
Did I see them?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so they were taken into
Seize
evidence,
them.
correct?
No.
They weren't taken into evidence?
No.
Just photographed.
Just photographed.
All right.
Yeah, he thought he said, "Did you?"
Yeah, he said seize, and the detective thought he said see. He did not seize it as evidence, but he saw it. He took pictures.
see them, not seize them.
Just curious, why not?
They didn't feel that they were pertinent to the case.
So you don't think it's pertinent to the case? You don't log it into evidence?
Well, if it's not evidence.
And who determines whether or not something's evidence?
This defense attorney, he's something else. I can't wait till they get further into the trial. My goodness.
So you determined it wasn't evidence, so you didn't log it, you didn't test it, you didn't swab it, you didn't keep it, correct? All right. Let's go on to the next picture. You had a picture.
I mean, that really was cringe. That's cringe for me right there, because the jury is sitting there looking at this, and moments like that. I mean,
for the state,
it's so unfortunate that it happens.
You know, he was asked, "Who determines if it's evidence?" And he said, "I guess that would be me." What, you don't know?
Guy who doesn't know his own job.
You have a natural light can in the back, correct? And that was back in the passenger seat. And did you seize that and take that into evidence?
No, sir.
Okay. And again, I guess for the same reason you didn't consider it to be evidence.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you, whenever someone drinks from a can or touches
A child has gone missing. They have turned up dead in a landfill. The mother is the prime suspect. You have her on video suspected of transporting said child's body and disposing of it in a dumpster. The entire vehicle should be evidence along with everything inside the vehicle. This makes no sense to me. I don't
a can or does
understand.
something like that, is it possible to have some sort of DNA contact or transference between it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And do you think that that might be relevant to testing to see who may have been or not been in the truck at that point in time?
It could be, but if they both had, or whoever had access to that vehicle, their DNA and prints would be all over the vehicle.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't put a timestamp though on DNA found on a bottle. You don't know when it got there.
Right. Right.
Okay.
You're just giving more ammo to an arrogant defense attorney with testimony like this. And
Ooh. Yeah, and you don't want to give an arrogant defense attorney any ammunition. They're like a dog going after their bone. They're just gonna keep going, you know? Or that's the worst.
I mean, I hope this guy does better next time on the next
Right?
case and learns from this.
Again, you didn't think it was evidence, didn't seize it, didn't test it, didn't do anything further with it, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, the substance in the back of the vehicle, which was kind of weird, okay, admittedly, you did take that though.
I took a sample of that.
And let me ask you this: you said it was some sort of kid cereal.
I believe, I'm not 100% sure.
Well, but it wasn't any biological material.
No.
Okay, it wasn't.
It's clear that these men do not have children, and if they do, they are not the ones feeding said children, or at least preparing the food and then giving it to them.
Any sort of cleaning solvent or anything like that.
No.
Right? Okay, but
How do you know? You didn't test it.
Well, you could tell, and I don't have any reason to think you're wrong. It was some sort of kid cereal or breakfast cereal of some sort that was in the back.
Yes.
That's just speculation.
You're taking pictures of the inside.
Now look at that. Look at his suit. He looks like he gets a lot. He looks high maintenance, you know what I mean? Like he takes care of himself. He's expensive.
Of the van. I'm going to assume you looked throughout the entire thing.
Yes.
Did you ever find any feces or
I guess you
blood or anything like that in it?
I did find a spot that reacted on the driver's side seat, but that was it.
And what was that?
Appeared to be blood. We just blue started.
It appeared to be blood. We just blue started. You didn't test it. You didn't. It looks like blood, but we're not going to test to find out if it, in fact, is human blood, animal blood. If it is human blood, whose it might belong to, if there's enough DNA. Like, oh my God.
And it fluoresced. And it was just a little spot on the front driver's seat.
Okay, did you see that or send it for further testing?
No, sir.
You didn't?
No, sir.
I'm going to follow.
And again, just curious, why not?
Didn't believe at the time it was pertinent.
Again, what you talk about all the time, you cannot assume.
A whole toddler has gone missing. A whole toddler has gone missing. You have the mother driving the vehicle on. I cannot. This man, he shouldn't be working where he's at. At the very least, he should be retrained. Can I train him? I could train him. I feel like I could do a better job than what he did. Oh my God. Did all he do was just take pictures and just swab some stuff and spray some Blue Star?
Assume at the time that it's just a missing child. You have to assume that there's some type of foul play. And
especially a child that little.
if he had in fact treated it as that, he would have taken that and his mindset. So yeah, I mean, look, it causes lots of people to make comments like, "Oh, this is a lazy detective. This is an inexperienced detective." It's just not what you want to see in such an important case like this.
You get a positive hit on that stain with luminol and you don't take it, that's when you take it. You got a positive hit. Okay. Could it be something else? Absolutely.
God, I hope this doesn't. This man could have fucked up so badly in this case in preserving evidence that Leilani may get off for this. Oh my God.
But that's not your job. The lab will determine what it is and isn't. You send it to the lab.
This boils my blood. But again, this isn't going to make or break the case. It's just going to give the defense a little more ammo.
Now,
it could.
With regards to the rest of the vehicle, did you find anything else of any substance in there? Of any relevance?
There was a spot in the back that we took swabs of and logged in. And there were a couple of fibers from the back seat or the back of the vehicle that we collected and logged in.
And what did you do with them once you swabbed them and collected them and logged them in?
That was all I did with them.
Okay. And just out of curiosity, if you look at number 15 from State's Exhibit 11, what was this orange thing and this white thing in the back of the car?
Those are traffic vests, kind of like safety vests. And then the white paper was from the dentist, I believe it was.
Okay.
Paperwork.
And what's the little orange thing on the ground right there?
I believe that was another safety vest.
You know, Ron, so he just said he took hairs, suspect hairs, he took certain things, and he just logged them in. And it doesn't say that he submitted them to the laboratory. So they could be sitting in some property clerk location and never have.
Oh my gosh, I'm so silly. I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna keep this playing, but I'll be right back.
Have been tested by the lab or never have been seen by the lab. Okay. How do you leave that unopened question? If you're a prosecutor, how do you leave that knowing that that stuff has not been tested and we don't know what in fact it is or if it has any connection to the case? How do you as a prosecutor not say, after finding out all that he had done, go get that stuff and send it to the lab?
Right.
I mean, maybe it was sent to the lab and we just haven't gotten to that point. But the way he made it sound is I sent it to the property clerk and that's it. That's all I did with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, boy. Unbelievable.
And that was the extent of everything that you found or found relevant from the car, correct?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to stop it here with this comment from Ed Black. Okay. We are going over trial day 2. We're not going over day 3, 4, and 5. Ed Black says, you all jumping the gun. That's why you police think you know it all. The whole vehicle was sent to Quantico. But he's being questioned on what he did with the vehicle. And what he did with the vehicle was nothing. It was nothing. He decided that none of it was of evidentiary value. So, Ed, your whole comment with all those capital letters, you're missing that we're going over day 2.
Isn't that funny how Ed thinks the police are jumping the gun, but here's Ed shooting off his mouth. I love stupid people, man.
Look at what it says right here. Day 2 in this trial. We're going over this testimony, not what happened going forward.
Oh, I thought. Oh, this is week 1. I thought this was like a whole week recap instead of he should have worded that title a little bit better. Whatever. I don't care. This is still good information to find out for the trial because, like, my God, this detective is just incompetent, is what it sounds like. I mean, I agree with what Duty Ron is saying. The way he's phrasing everything makes it sound like he didn't fully do his job, and that's just it's not the thing to do. Your job is one of the most important jobs to have. I think, at least, but you know.
We're going to get to that, but it's going to be in another life.
Let's back up and go to State's Exhibit number 10. And actually, it might be easier to look at State's Exhibit number 9. Do you have that in front of you?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do that because it's a better overview, and the other ones are just a lot of pictures to thumb through. So you took a bunch of pictures of the house and the surrounding area, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So looking at State's Exhibit 9, and again, don't want to put words in your mouth, but from what my recollection was, there was a pool in the back, and there was a set of dining room doors and a set of living room doors that led out to the pool area, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And it looked like, and again, not trying to put words in your mouth, just going from my recollection, that the living room doors opened into a play area.
Yes, sir.
And the dining room doors opened directly onto the patio area. Is that a fair and accurate assessment of what the pictures you took?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, when you got there, well, I guess it was on October 5th, correct?
Yes.
Okay. When you got there on October 5th, you were sent around to take all the pictures that you took in State's Exhibit 10, correct?
Yeah.
All right. And Mr. Dean asked you to discuss and go through what it took to go from the front door to, I guess, the living room door, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But based upon that, it's a much shorter trip to go from the front door to the dining room door, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And it's not nearly as circuitous, correct?
Yes, sir.
And I can't tell from the picture, so I'm going to have to ask you. The dining room door opens right out onto the patio, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The living room door opens into a play area, correct?
It's the same patio. It's just got a little gate.
Right. And it seems to me, again, not putting words in your mouth, but the play area seemed kind of cordoned off.
Yeah.
And the dining room doors didn't. It kind of opened straight into the pool area.
Yes, sir.
Is that a fair assessment?
Yes.
Okay. So it's much easier to get out through the dining room door onto the patio than the living room door, correct?
Yes, sir.
And when you were there that day, were those doors open, closed? What were they?
All the doors were closed when I got there.
Okay. Were they unlocked?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. So you didn't have any.
Did you take pictures of that spot before?
Yeah, he's
Once
talking
you
about
turned
the
off
spot.
the lights, what do you do?
Then we spray the vehicle. We would spray each seat, the floorboard, and then a lot. Yes.
Did you take any pictures of it and report it? So, and so this was pretty much the extent of what you did in the case, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you review you said you went and seized the camera footage from Azalea, if I'm not mistaken. So that was you that went out and picked it up, seized it, and then I guess you forwarded it to the detectives, correct?
Yes. Well, we put it on a computer at work.
Billy Ryan, have a good night. Good to see you. Ed, that highlighted comment, why was that up there?
Yeah, I didn't understand it. So if you'd like to explain how I got charbroiled, as you say, let me just put it to you this way. If the FBI has the car now, and now they
I think Ed is misunderstanding. The guy that shot his mouth off was also named Ed. They were talking about that guy, I think. Save the drama for your llama. Oh my gosh, I want to go back to the trial. Is that it? Is that all there? Okay, that's cool. Okay. They just said to hell with the rest of that trial footage. We're done with that today. I wonder if I can probably stay on for a little bit longer. My husband worked third shift tonight and he's getting off work right now. So he'll be home in I don't know, 30 or 40 minutes thereabout. See if they got any more. We have to prove it's not exactly how she killed him, but the fact that she did do it. That's right. You know, remember the Menendez brothers? Oh my gosh. The Menendez brothers, I think they're guilty as hell. I don't understand why people want them out. It's like thinking that Gypsy Rose is that she's innocent. I just I'm not saying necessarily that the Menendez brothers weren't abused, but if they were abused, they still chose to murder their parents. They were grown adults. They could have moved out. I don't understand why they just turned around and murdered their parents, and people think that they're justified in their actions because they went through abuse and, SA abuse specifically, but like I don't that's unless somebody is a direct active threat to ending your life, you don't have the right to take their life, even if they've abused you. That's not how things work. It's just not. eh, So let's think of it as I don't know, as a viewpoint of them not being abused, them not being essayed. Okay, well then they flat out murdered their parents for no reason then. So like it's one or the other, and then there's all the evidence afterwards, them spending their parents' money and stuff. It's just a lot of stuff doesn't add up for me. Them sitting in life for prison without parole, I think that's a very fitting end to their crimes because they don't need to be resentenced. I don't understand that. People are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, man. I I'll pull another video up. Let's shoot. Have any of you seen the uh the case down in Kentucky where the judge shot not the judge, the sheriff's deputy shot the judge in his judge's chambers? This is down in Whitesburg, Kentucky. And I've got family down there in eastern like the Appalachian area. Um I think I had some people down in Whitesburg. My family's down like in Pine Top. I think that's a little southeast of Whitesburg. Maybe like 30, 40 minutes, something like that. I can't remember. I know I went to Whitesburg.
Are essential oils better at eliminating bed bugs over traditional chemical insecticides? This is clove and cottonseed oil, and it
Letcher County Sheriff Mickey Steins appeared in Morgan County District Court for a preliminary hearing. This comes one day after he retired from his position as sheriff.
There are all kinds of crazy rumors with this case. When it first came out, there was a bunch of stuff about the sheriff and the sheriff's daughter being involved in a adult way with the judge who's like in his 60s, and I don't think she's a teenager, maybe she's like a young adult, bordering teenager, something like that. I'm not quite sure. But maybe she's a teenager. Yeah, I think she's a teenager. I can't remember. But uh uh, there was speculation that there was some kind of adult inappropriate relationship going on. Um, well, I wouldn't even say relationship because it sounds like it was an SA situation if that was what was happening, but it's come out since then that it's not what was going on, apparently. It seems more like a mental health break on the sheriff's part. Him and the judge have been friends for a long time. It's a very small community, mountain people, it's the Appalachia region. Um, uh, it yeah, it just I don't know. It seems like he had a break with his mental health or something. Something was going on with him and his wife. I think he moved out or she moved out or something the week prior, and I think she was in like the process of like leaving him because I rumor on the street is that I don't think he was like hurting them, but like there was like domestic problems going on. I think he was, I don't know, when he got arrested, he had said something about, oh gosh, what was it? Um, Shoot, can't remember. Uh, Dang it. Oh, they're trying to kidnap my wife and daughter or something along those lines. Um, and that didn't make sense to me with the context of thinking that he had shot the judge because the judge was doing something inappropriate to his daughter, but in the context of thinking that he was having a mental break and his wife was leaving him, and if the judge was helping her to get a protection order or something like that against him, then yeah, he's going to think that he's helping to take his wife and daughter from him. That makes more sense than the rumor mill. I don't know. It's a wild case regardless. I mean, there's full on video of him shooting the judge. The judge is sitting at his desk smoking a cigarette. I think they just ate lunch or he's in the middle of eating lunch or something, and he just starts shooting him. Like, it's absolutely insane. The judge is trying to like protect himself. There's nothing he can protect himself with. He's just sitting there at his desk, and the sheriff even goes around and like makes sure that he's shot, he's dead. Like, it's and he just walks out, surrenders. Like, it's absolutely insane.
Steins was arraigned last week when he pleaded not guilty to murdering Letcher County District Judge Kevin Mullins.
Kentucky State Police
Not guilty. When the whole thing is caught on camera, that makes no sense.
Detective Clayton Stamper took the stand today. He said when he arrived on scene, Steins appeared mostly calm and that they talked a bit, but nothing about why this happened. Steins has been in jail since the September 19th shooting and announced his retirement effective Monday. A video captured inside of the chambers that day was shown in the courtroom for the first time, where it showed Steins shot Mullins several times in the judge's chambers. Stamper testified that 4 witnesses were inside of the next room.
One person stated that she didn't recognize him as being Judge Mullins' voice, but heard somebody say, "Help, help."
Steins' attorney, Jeremy Bartley, asked Clamper if Judge Mullins also had a firearm on his person.
We did not locate one.
So who searched specifically for a firearm?
We all did.
And that was specifically something you looked for?
Yes.
Stamper also testified additional video showed Steins looking at Mullins' phone several times. He said Steins tried to call his daughter and then tried to call his daughter from Mullins' phone as well.
Have you issued a search warrant for him?
Yes.
Okay. And have officers confirmed that the sheriff's daughter's phone number was on Judge Mullins' phone?
Yes.
Both of their phones are at a forensic lab being downloaded.
I was told that the judge made a statement to Mickey about, do we need to meet private in my chambers? That's all I was told.
Do you know the context of what the conversation was before that they would need to discuss in chambers?
I don't know.
What's been the reaction to this footage?
The reaction, of course, has really been shock, Marky. So some inside the courthouse even crying as this video was played. Now, prosecutors, they say it clearly shows former Sheriff Sean Mickey Steins shooting the judge, Kevin Mullins, several times as he covers his face and tries to hide under his desk.
Allegedly by his friend, Sheriff Mickey Steins.
It happened late last month, and former Sheriff Steins quit right after his arrest. He's been in jail ever since.
What do you mean he quit? That's ridiculous. He shot and killed the judge. He doesn't have a job anymore.
According to...
Is that not crazy? He's a big dude, man. I mean, the judge isn't exactly little either, but like, man or woman, you got a big dude standing at you like that, and it's the sheriff pointing a gun at the judge. That's just insane to me. That's some wild, wild shit.
Steins' attorneys. The two met for lunch.
You can't even say that that's mountain justice, because that was straight up murder. From my understanding.
Near the courthouse that day. In the video not shown in court, Sheriff Steins uses his cell phone to call his daughter, then uses the judge's phone to call.
Yeah, see, look at the sheriff's eyes. Look at him. He does not look like a man who is home. He looks like the lights are on. and nobody's home. I want to believe the initial story that came out that he did this because the judge was doing inappropriate stuff to girls, but I don't think that that's the case. I think I don't. It just doesn't. That doesn't make sense. It makes more sense given the statements that he's made and stuff that's come out from his wife. It seems more like a mental health break and a desperate man who's losing his family and he's grasping at straws and he shot what I believe was his best friend, or at least a very close friend of his. Probably because he was trying to help his wife. Because this man has been unhinged for a while. That's just sad.
His daughter again before the shooting. Investigators are waiting for data from the phones to determine what relevance it has to the case. Investigators are also looking into a sexual harassment lawsuit against the sheriff's office. Sheriff Steins could face up to 20 years or up to life in prison. Now, this is interesting. According to Kentucky's
in the back seat, even that. They made like a little TikTok. Oh my God, Sarah Boone. I want to call her Boone's Farm because I think she's an alcoholic. What she did is disgusting. Was she drunk? Yeah, she was drunk when she killed her boyfriend, who was also drunk. They were playing hide and seek, and she stuffed him inside of a suitcase and filmed like the whole thing. I think she kicked him down a flight of stairs and was like kicking the bag, and he's like begging for help. You can hear him in the video begging for help, and she's like, I don't think she's quite laughing, but like she's a little too gleeful in a very mean and taunting way. Basically, like saying stuff like how he deserves what's happening to him, and she's very mad at him. Like this is like reprimations for I don't know whatever made sense in her alcohol ridden brain, because alcohol rots your brain. If you drink too much of it and you're drinking a lot of it consistently, it will absolutely turn your brain to mush and make you say and do and crazy fucking things because you've rotted your brain. If you drink enough alcohol, if you're a severe enough alcoholic, it will also liquefy your insides basically, and you will basically bleed out. So let's just skip over to the Menendez brothers, because what Sarah Boone did to her boyfriend is just so god awful. I don't want to look at that case right now.
What's wrong with these burger buns? They taste perfectly delicious, but due to a production mishap, their bottoms are slightly curved instead of flat. Traditional grocery stores wouldn't sell these in perfect brioche buns, but Misfits Market can.
What is this? Misfits Market. Oh my God.
A stunning turn for the Menendez brothers.
Okay, talk about crazy eyes. Is that Lyle? Is that one Lyle? I can't remember which one's which. Is it Lyle and Kyle? But look at him. That's the one with the toupee over here. He looks like Frankenstein with that toupee. It's ridiculous looking. Oh man, nobody looks like that and thinks normal thoughts.
As LA's district attorney announces his office is looking into new evidence that could set the brothers free by Thanksgiving.
Free by Thanksgiving? Hell no. Keep Lyle. The one on the left looks kind of normal. I don't know. His eyes look like not normal. Why? Ew, he looks like the sleep paralysis demon that's at the end of my bed every night.
For the first time in 30 years, the killer Menendez brothers are telling their story together.
My name is Eric Menendez. My name is Lyle Menendez, calling you from
Eric and Lyle. I thought it was Kyle and Lyle. They should have named them Kyle and Lyle.
Donovan Correctional Facility.
The Lyle and Eric Menendez story is generating renewed interest in the notorious case. The Menendez brothers killed.
It's Oh, they were just sitting there, man. It's like I cannot. Why do people think that these guys should be free? Ah, I, I just can't.
Their parents, Kitty and Jose, was shotgun blasts as they watched TV at their Beverly Hills mansion in 1989. Prosecutors argued the motive was to inherit the family's multi-million-dollar estate. The brothers claim they committed the slayings to stop their father's sexual abuse. Now the question, will this new evidence bolster the brothers' claims? The DA cited a letter that Eric allegedly sent to his cousin in which he complains about being molested by his father. He writes, "It's still happening. It's worse for me now. Every night I stay up thinking he might come in." That letter was written 8 months before the murders. The DA also revealed they have a new declaration by a member of the boy band, Menudo.
One of the members of the Menudo band alleged that he was molested by the father.
Singer Roy Rossello claimed he was raped by Jose Menendez, who was a top music executive in the mid-'80s. During the brothers' first trial, jurors
I forgot what his dad did, job-wise.
heard their claims of abuse, and the trial ended in a hung jury. In their second trial, the abuse claims were not allowed to be heard, and they were found guilty of murder. The Menendez brothers are now represented by famed lawyer.
Even with the abuse claims, they still committed murder. Like, why abuse does not equal justification for murder. It does not.
Mark Aragos.
As a prosecutor, I knew it was plain old green.
Eric and Lyle speaking out to tell their story for the first time in phone interviews from prison.
Lyle was the only person that had ever protected me. What happened at night is very well known, but so much hasn't been told.
They were abused. They were emotionally abused. Jose Menendez emotionally abused everybody. He was just a bully and a control freak.
But the brothers claim there was...
Okay, so she says emotional abuse. Okay, not even physical abuse. If that's true, that's still not justification to murder them.
Sexual abuse, too. Behind the doors of this Beverly Hills mansion, they say they suffered years of unspeakable abuse.
Did you ask him not to?
Yes.
How did you ask him not to?
I just told him. I don't.
Now, a newly discovered letter written from Eric Menendez to his cousin before the murders, talking about sex abuse from his father, which could be a key piece of evidence. Eric wrote, "I've been trying to avoid Dad. It's still happening." Many of their supporters are now calling for their convictions to be vacated. Los Angeles District Attorney George Gascon said that his office is considering requests to resentence the brothers. A court hearing will be held on November 29th.
More than a year.
So this is... I can see some of the parallels to Gypsy Rose, but Gypsy Rose's case wasn't an actual abuse case. It's just a charlatan. Like, I don't know how else to put her case, but trying to compare, I see people try to compare the Menendez brothers to Gypsy Rose, but those people don't understand that Gypsy's whole thing was a scam. It was just, that's all it was. She was in on it. Well, she was getting treatment for actual medical problems that were wrong with her, but then they were also scamming people. It was a dual, it was a whole weird special. Her case is very special. But the Menendez brothers, so I talk about it in my Gypsy Rose video. It's very rare for children of abuse victims to turn around and actually take the lives of one or both of their parents, especially both of them. Like, it accounts for, like, I think 1 or 2% of the murders that happen every year. So, like, that, it's a very low amount. And what I come back to is that they were adults. Let me look up how old they were when this happened. Again, adults, just like how Gypsy Rose was adult. He was still in high school during the murder. What? Which one? The bald one? I mean, Menendez brothers. How old? I love Google. How old were the Menendez brothers when they killed their parents. Lyle. Lyle, the bald one with the Frankenstein looking head, he was 21 and Eric was 18 at the time of the murders. The murders happened in August of 1989. So yeah. They were old enough to have left. I don't understand. And it's also the fact that like they lied about things. They took their parents' money afterwards too, before the police caught on to the fact that they were the ones that committed the murder. It's just there's a lot of stuff that doesn't add up to me. And again, it just doesn't equate to them being able to take the lives of their parents. Man, that's a tough one, I guess. I don't know.
And a half after Brian Walsh was charged with killing and dismembering his wife Anna. He's now trying to find out if the police.
What? Who the hell is Brian Walsh? I don't know who Brian Walsh is. I've not heard of this case. Is this a new Oh goodness. Oh, thank you for I decorated for Halloween. Halloweeny. I thought since I was gonna go live, I'd make it look festive behind me, and I'll keep it up too when I make my Candyman video talking about Cabrini Green. Good lord, that's the Candyman stuff's really interesting. I really like how they take like history and they mesh it with the truth, like with actual stuff that was going on, like with Cabrini Green, and then what Ruthie, I can't remember her last name, but the lady that was murdered in her apartment. It wasn't in Cabrini Green, but it was in like a neighboring housing development. That case, it's so sad, and they tie that into the 1992 Candyman movie. It's she was schizophrenic, she was African American, and the cops they just didn't want to listen to her because it was like, oh, crazy old Ruthie's calling. But she actually had, I think, at least two guys broke into her apartment through the bathroom mirror. Um, the way these housing units were set up, they were all constructed the same way. So like the bathroom for this unit is on the opposite side of the bathroom for the other unit. So they have the same mirrors, they pop out the same way, they're easy to remove. There's space in between the walls, so if a plumber has to come inside, they can remove the mirrors easily, go into the wall, access the pipes, do their business, get out, put the mirrors back. Well, somebody was on the opposite side of Ruthie's apartment and they broke in through that mirror and they shot her. And I think it was like a couple days went by before police actually showed up and they were like, oh, she was telling the truth. Like it's really sad. Um then like the rest of the story, Candyman basically ties back to slavery, segregation, Jim Crow, and basically how that's all trickled down through time and the effects of living in the projects and just what that can do to somebody. It's a really good movie. I think it's one of the better horror films. It's definitely more of like a psychological horror film. There's I mean there's some gruesome deaths in it, but a lot of well, trying to think. I think there's only one on scene in the first film. It's been a little bit since I've watched it. I don't have access to it online. It was on Tubi, but I think you have to pay for it now. It's on I think like Amazon Prime, like all the major streaming services, stuff that I don't subscribe to, or you can buy it here on YouTube and I think on Google Play. So I may end up having to do that because it's like $3 I think on YouTube. It's a really good movie. I suggest you should watch it if you haven't watched it already. If not, I will be getting into like the history of Cabrini Green. What was it there before Cabrini Green? Because it's interesting. I think the history of the area is interesting, and then I'll be diving into like the mythos behind Candyman and full spoilers. I will not be avoiding spoiler alerts or anything like that. I will have a warning at the beginning of the video just to remind people. But yeah, if you if you can't get access to Candyman, then I'm sure my video will be enough for you to get the general idea of the movie, and I'll show some clips and stuff from the movie so you can get a good feel for it. Um I would say it's definitely a bucket list horror film that you should watch if you're into horror films. Um I don't know. I remember being a kid and going into like the local mom and pop um video store and like seeing the jacket for it for the VHS tape. It always scared me as a kid. It's it's yeah, it was just one of those films where you're just like, "Oh, you got to watch that when you get a little bigger," and it was definitely worth it. I It's one of those fun ones to watch when you get older. But I've been on here long enough. I'm gonna hop off of here. I'm going to get ready for bed. And I'm gonna go to bed. It is 2 my headset turned off. It is 2 a.m. Yeah, it is time for me to tell you bye-bye.
Police who investigated him had an
I did not mean to hit that. Okay. Well. Well. All right. I shall catch you all in the next one. I probably won't upload anything on here until my Candyman video. So thank you for stopping in for my stream. I appreciate it.